Filipino prominent that give us inspiration to us as an individual. Somehow, it gives feedback to us as a Filipino. It's also a time we realize the good works of the Filipino prominent. Is Jose Rizal, the pride of Malay race and national hero. Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861 in Calamba, Laguna. Born a genius, he was a doctor, writer, printer, engineer, linguist, scientist, sculptor, and philanthropist. Jose Rizal came from a rich family in Calamba, Laguna. He studied at Ateneo University and at Santo Tomas University of Madrid in Spain. He finished medicine as well as known linguistic in different languages, but the most great achievements that Rizal accomplished was the time of propaganda movement. He was an active Filipino to seek for the reform of his country during the Spanish government through his novel Nori Mi Tangere 1887 and El Filibusterismo in 1891. These books brought out the country especially to his countrymen. It spread out to the sudden death of Rizal. He was sentenced to death on December 31, 1896 at the Bagumbayan, now popular as Laguna Park. A Filipino who loved so much his countrymen and his motherland fighting for a cause, especially independence of being a free man on earth. Truly, we can say that Dr. Jose Rizal is the pride of Malay race. Gabriela Silang, Revolutionary Woman General. Gabriela Silang was the wife of Diego Silang. After the death of her husband, the Spanish army invaded the camp and got all firearms and munitions, important document that Diego Silang left. In this situation, Gabriela don't lose hope. Instead, she fought against the Spaniards. She continued the fight of her husband and the Ilocanos. She said, "It was necessary for me to bring back the freedom that Diego Silang started." Gabriela Silang and the rest of the troops continued to fight against the Spaniards, but the Filipinos' insufficient armies bring them to lose the fight. Gabriela Silang was captured in the mountains of Abra. The Spaniards bring her and the remaining companions to Ilocos. She was sentenced to death and the rest of her revolutionary troops of September 20, 1763 in Vigan, Ilocos. Next, Jacinto Zamora, a martyr. Father Jacinto Zamora was born on August 14, 1835 in Pandacan, Manila. His parents were Don Venancio Zamora and Doña Hilaria de Rosario. He studied at Colegio de San Juan de Letran and at the University of Santo Tomas, where she finished priesthood. He became the parish priest of Marikina and of Pasig Rizal. He was assigned an assistant curate in the Cathedral of Manila, where he met Father Burgos. Later, he joined the liberal movement against the injustice of cruel Spaniards. He was always seen with Father Gumis and Burgos that he, too, was suspected as the rival of the Spaniards. In January 1872, the Cavite Revolt broke out. He was captured and jailed at Fort Santiago without giving a chance. He was sentenced to death by the Spanish Garrote on February 17, 1872, together with Gomez and Burgos at Bagumban. Next is Mariano Ponce. Mariano Ponce, born in Baliwag on March 23, 1863. He studied at San Juan de Letran, the University of Santo Tomas, where he finished his medicine. Ponce actively participated in Rizal's propaganda movement. He wrote regularly for La Solidaridad. On June 29, 1989, he went to Yokohama to solicit Japan's aid for the revolutionary cause and to purchase firearms for the Filipino armies. He returned to Manila after 20 years of patriotic work. He devoted his life to intensive researches and writers on Philippine history. In 1916, Fonsi went to China to visit his friend President Sun Yat-sen, the first president of the Chinese Republic. Upon arrival in Hong Kong, he died while in the hospital for a serious condition on May 23, 1918, at the age of 55. Next, Pedro A. Paterno, facemaker of the Revolution, President of the Malolos Congress. Pedro Paterno was born in Manila on February 27, 1857. After he studied in Ateneo de Manila, he enrolled in the world-famous University of Madrid, where he acquired the degrees of law. He was the country's Filipino patriot to join the propaganda movement by means of his prolific pen. In 1882, he mediated as a peacemaker of the Filipino-Spanish students' troubles in the campus of Ateneo de Manila. His greatest achievement as a peacemaker will lead to the success of the revolution headed by General Emilio Aguinaldo. He was happy to die with though true that it is sweet to die defending his motherland. He died on March 27, 1911 at the age of 53. General Antonio Luna, greatest Filipino soldier of the Revolution, the Fiery General. Antonio Luna was born in Orbistondo, Binondo, Manila on October 29, 1866. His parents were both Ilocanos. He is the younger brother of Juan Luna, the greatest Filipino painter. The intelligent young man finished his degree in pharmacy at the University of Santo Tomas. He continued his studies abroad and specialized in his field in a clinic in Belgium. Later, he worked as an assistant of Dr. Latrox in laboratory in Paris. His life was a story of a greatness. He was loyal and extremely believed in military discipline. However, many soldiers who did not know the meaning of military discipline hated him. The lead of his ultimately dead. He was not killed by the American soldiers but their own fellow military. 2 years after he came back to the Philippines, Luna was accused of initiating the cry of Pugad Lawit. Together with the other Filipino leaders, he was exiled to Spain. There, he decided to set his life to the Filipino movement of freedom. Lapu-Lapu, known as the first Filipino hero of victory over Magellan. Lapu-Lapu was the king of the island of Mactan in Visayas, where Ferdinand Magellan landed the island of the Philippines. He would never submit to the Spanish rule nor pay attention to Magellan. Lapu-Lapu's attitude angered Magellan. The troops of Magellan, together with the 60 Spanish soldiers, sailed from Cebu to conquer the island of Mactan. When the Spaniards landed on the island of Mactan, they were attacked by Lapu-Lapu and some brave Filipinos, including Lapu-Lapu's son. In the fight, a poorly armed Filipino succeeds in wounding Magellan. The Filipinos kept fighting until they killed Magellan. When the Spaniards saw their leaders dead, they escaped to their boats and sailed away. The battle took place on the shores of Mactan on April 27, 1521. Lapu-Lapu's victory encouraged the Filipinos to attack the Spaniards in Cebu, forcing them to leave the island of the Philippines. When and how the brave Lapu-Lapu died, nobody knows. It is not recorded in the Philippine history. Emilio Jacinto, recognized as the brain of the Katipunan and the Revolution. first advisor of Andres Bonifacio. Emilio Jacinto, born in Trozo, Manila on December 15, 1875. He succeeded in studying at the University of Santo Tomas, where he took up law. When the revolution broke out, he joined the Katipunan, was become the advisor of Andres Bonifacio. He was the author of the Cartilla, a librarian of the Katipunan, as well as the editor of the paper Kalayaan. The Supreme found Jacinto a very intelligent and firm companion. Emilio write the Katipunan. It continued the secret of society's teaching. The Katipunan of it to love and defend the country. The Katipunan is advised to respect both women and children all the time, especially in the time of war. He served as purchasing officer of the organization. When Dr. Rizal was invited to join the Katipunan, Emilio Jacinto was the man to coordinate Rizal. Upon Bonifacio's death, Apolinario appointed Jacinto to take charge of the Katipunan troops. In 1898, in the battle between Spaniards and the revolutionaries, he was wounded. Jacinto joined defending his country in Mahayhay, Laguna on April 16, 1899. Mariano Gomez, a martyr. Father Mariano Gomez, another Filipino priest of Catholic religion who died in February 17, 1872 together with Father Burgos and Zamora. Born in Santa Cruz, Manila on 1825. He studied at San Juan de Letran College in Manila. Took up religion and became the parochial priest of Bacoor, Cavite. Mariano Gomez is the founder of the newspaper La Verdad, which means the truth in English. The newspaper became the mouthpiece of the Filipino propagandists during the revolt, which started in Cavite. The press was so closely connected with the fight of freedom movement. Father Gomez was a critic of Spanish regime. He always cited the political condition of his beloved country. Because of his rebellious views and criticism, the Spaniards arrested him together with Father Burgos and Zamora. The three Filipino priests died on February 17, 1872 in Bagumbayan by means of garrote. Andres Bonifacio, father of the Revolution, second famous hero of our race, founder of the Katipunan. Andres Bonifacio, the hero of the uprising Balintawak in 1896. Born in Tondo, Manila on November 30, 1863. He had the great hopes and beliefs that his countrymen could maintain the free government. Because of this, he organized a Katipunan in Balintawak to uprising. He convinced Emilio Jacinto, the brain of the revolution, to help him. When the secret of the Katipunan was exposed, Bonifacio and his men went to Balintawak. In August 26, the Katipunan, under brave leader Bonifacio, tore their poll taxes and waved their red flags as the sign of beginning of the revolt against the Spaniards. There was a misunderstanding when meeting was held at Tijiros, Malabon in 1877. Bonifacio formed a new government. The Spaniards heard about the organization. Later, Bonifacio was arrested and tried by the court of war. He and his brother Procarpio were sentenced to be shot at Buntis Mountain on May 10, 1897. Bonifacio's legacy to his mother's country was democracy. He left us the lessons we derived from Decalogue. A. Believe in God's word wholeheartedly. B. Love your country and your countrymen. C. It's an honor to die if cause is saving the country from slavery. D. One's desire is obtained by possessing coldness of heart. E. Take care of the secret of the Katipunan just as take care of your own honor. A. F. Save one of who is in danger. Bonifacio loved his native land and his people. His favorite saying, liberty or death. The first revolt began in Balintawak on August 26, 1896. The Filipinos were shouting, "Long live the Philippine Republic!"